Hello, I am Nehal Jain from QCfinance.in and today I teach Symbolic Math Toolbox in MATLAB. Now the content is we will learn how to solve the problems based on Z transform, inverse Z transform Laplace, inverse Laplace Fourier, inverse discrete Fourier, convolution, module and 1D digital filter on MATLAB. Now coming towards the Z transform. The syntax for the Z transform used in MATLAB is f equal to Z transform of f. In the place of f, we write the function. Now, for the description of this is Z trans f is the Z transform of the scalar symbol f with the default independent variable n, and the default return is a function of z. We'll see some example based on it. For example, I'm having a function f of n which is equal to n to the power 4 and I want to find its z transform. So for that the command used will be, first of all I have to declare the variable that I am using in my function. Here the variable is n, I am using n, so I am declaring it using symsn, and the function f is equal to n to the power 4, so I am declaring that function f is equal to n to the power 4. And for finding the z transform, I will use the command z trans of f, and then it will return me the answer. Let's try it on the MATLAB. See here, I have to find the program symbol n, f equal to n to the power 4 and z transform of f. So it will give me f as output and the z transform as output. Okay. Similarly, we can find the z transform of g of z and f of n, that is sin a and a to the power z. Just be careful before using the program that you have to declare all the symbols and variables that you use in your program, as we have declared n in the first. Now for finding the inverse z transform, we have the function iz trans, and in the bracket you have to write the function that you have to calculate the inverse z transform. Here the z here iz transform of f is the inverse z transform of the scalar symbolic object f, that is a function with the default independent variable z, and the default return is a function of n. So in this way n, z and f are connected. Now for example, I am having a function 2z divided by z minus 2 to the power 2. Okay. So for finding the inverse z transform of this function, the program I will be using is, first of all I will define the variable z using the syms command, and then I'll declare the function and write iz transform of f, and it will return this as out. See here, I have declared this function and the symbol, and then I have got the answer 2 to the power n plus 2 to the power n into n minus 1. Same as here. Now coming towards the Laplace transform, how to solve the Laplace functions in MATLAB. For this you have to use the command Laplace of f, Laplace of function. Okay, Laplace of f is the Laplace transform of the scalar symbol f with the default independent variable here is t, that is time, and the default return is a function of s domain. Okay, s domain into time domain. The Laplace transform is applied to a function of t and returns a function of s. As we know, the Laplace transform is nothing but converting time domain to s domain. Here is an example for the Laplace transform. My function is t to the power 4. I have to convert it in the s domain. For that, I will use a program. First of all, I will define the time variable t using sims t, function f equal to t to the power 4, Laplace of f, and then this is my output. Okay, this is my program and this is my output in the s domain. Now coming towards the inverse Laplace transform. Okay, that is converting from s domain to the time domain. It is s name, it is inverse of the Laplace transform. Now as example for the inverse Laplace transform, first of all I am having a function f that is 1 upon s square. Here I am having variable s, therefore I am defining this or declaring this variable as using the sims space s, and at the end I am finding the inverse Laplace using the command I Laplace of f. Okay, and it will return me the output as t. Now suppose I am having another function f which is equal to s upon s square. For finding its inverse Laplace, I will write sims s is a variable, f equal to s by s square, and then I will write I Laplace of f, and I will get the answer 1. Now coming towards the Fourier transform. Okay, the syntax used for the Fourier transform is f equal to Fourier of f. In the bracket you have to write the function which you want to convert, or write that function equal to f and write here simply f. The Fourier transform is applied to a function of x, okay, and returns a function of w. Now let's see an example based on the Fourier transform in MATLAB. I am having a function f which is equal to exponential to the power minus x square, exponential of minus x square. Okay, and I want its Fourier transform. Then I'll write first the declaration of x, that is sims x, then the function f equal to exponential of x minus x square, and write Fourier of f, and it will return me the output with the default variable w. Now coming towards the inverse Fourier integral transform. The syntax for it is I Fourier of f. Okay. Now in the inverse Fourier transform is applied to a function of w and returns a function of x opposite to that of the Fourier. Okay, here a function is in w domain and returns the output as in x domain. Now coming towards its example. Okay, now my function is f equal to exponential of minus w square upon 4a square. Okay, one thing to be taken care of is normally on the paper and pen we have the function written as e to the power. Okay, but while declaring it on the MATLAB we write as exponential and in the bracket the power 1. Okay, so keep in mind. Now for that we have to declare the variables that we are using. We are using a, w and real, so I am writing sims a, w and real. Then my function and my output will be equal to I Fourier of f, inverse Fourier of f, and f equal to simple of f also. So it will return the inverse transform of f. Now see here, I run that function on the MATLAB itself. Okay. Now first of all my small f, that was my original function, is displayed 1 upon exponential of this. Then capital F inverse Fourier of f, that is this one. This is my output as inverse Fourier of this function. Okay, and then simple f, it is again as absolute of a pi to the power half and etc. So in this way you can find the inverse Fourier transform of any given function. Now coming towards the FFT, that is discrete Fourier transform, fast Fourier transform also known. Okay. Now the syntax for it is either you can use fast Fourier transform of x or fast Fourier transform of x comma n according to the question given. Now the fast Fourier transform of x means it returns the discrete Fourier transform DFT of vector x computed with a fast Fourier transform algorithm. Okay. Now if x is a matrix, suppose, then FFT returns the Fourier transform of each column of the matrix. If it is a multidimensional array, then FFT operates on the first non-singleton dimension. Now if the function is like a fast Fourier transform of x comma n, then it returns n point DFT. Okay, if the length of x is less than n, X is padded with trailing zeros to length n. Now if the length of X is greater than n, then sequences X is truncated. Okay, these are the two cases. When X is a matrix, the length of the columns are adjusted in the same manner. So these are the cases for fast Fourier transform. Now coming towards the example of it. Suppose I am having X equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 are the elements. Okay, and I am finding its fast Fourier transform with the DFT. Okay, then the output will be same if I write it as fast Fourier transform of x comma 4, because here also there are 4 elements and here n is also 4. Okay, so it both will give the same result. But if I write n equal to 6 or n equal to 2, okay, that is here is the case of n is greater than x and this is the case of n is less than x, then the output will be different. For example, see here on the MATLAB, I have typed x equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and FFT of x, fast Fourier transform of x. So the output is for 1, 10, for 2, the imaginary answer, 3 minus 2 and 4 again imaginary answer. If I will type x comma 4, then also I will get the same answer as by FFT of x. But if I will type fast Fourier transform of x comma 6, here n is 6, that is greater than x, then the output is different. Okay, for 6 place value it is giving me the output, and if I will type FFT of x comma 2, it is giving again a different answer. So this is a difference when n is greater than x and when n is less than. Now coming towards the inverse fast Fourier transform, or you can say inverse discrete Fourier transform. The syntax used here is IFF of t and IFF of x comma n for the case. Now it is also same as fast Fourier transform, just the opposite. That is, here x is a matrix, then IFFT will return the inverse DFT, discrete Fourier transform of each column of the matrix. Now if IFT test x to see whether vector in x along the active dimensions are conjugate symmetric. If so, computation is faster and the output is real. Now an element vector x is conjugate symmetric if x of I is equal to conjugate of x of moderation of n minus I plus 1 and comma n plus 1 for each element of x. Okay. Now if x is a multidimensional array, then IFFT operates on the first non-single tone dimension, and if y is equal to inverse Fourier transform of x comma n, then it will return the n point inverse DFT of vector x. Now coming towards the convolution and polynomial multiplication. The command used for convolution is CONV. Okay, W equal to convolution of u comma v. This means that W equal to convolution of u comma v convolves vectors u and v. Algebraically, convolution is the same operation as multiplying the polynomials whose coefficients are the elements of u and v. Let's see how. Now let's see module and circular convolution, that is CCONV, okay, of a comma b comma n. Now in this circular convolution is used to convolve two discrete Fourier transforms, that is two DFT sequences. Okay. Now for the very long sequences, circular convolution may be faster than the linear convolution. Now for example, C equal to convolution of a comma b comma n. This circularly converts the vector a and b, and n is the length of the resulting vector. Okay, that is, it converts a and b, and nth is the resulting length of the vector, resulting vector. Now if you omit n, it defaults to length of a plus length of b minus 1. Okay, that is, the value of n is calculated as length of a minus plus length of b minus 1. Now when nth is equal to length of a plus length of b minus 1, the circular convolution is equivalent to the linear convolution computed with CONV command. You can also use CCONV to compute the circular cross correlation of two sequences. Okay. Here is example. The following example calculates the module 4 circular convolution. Module 4 means here n is equal to 4. Okay. The 4 elements we are taking here. A is a 2 1 2 1, B is a 1 2 3 4, and for output of convolution of A and B, I will write the command C equal to CCONV of A, B, 4. You can also solve that question using the convolution command. For example, I am having A, I am having B. I have declared both of them. I am writing C equal to convolution of A, V, and I am getting the answer. So, this is my answer. Now coming towards the last topic, that is filter. 1D digital filter. For solving it, we use the syntax y equal to filter in bracket b, a, x. Now let's see how it works. The filter function filters a data sequence using a digital filter which works for both real and complex inputs. Okay, that is, you can use both real and complex inputs, imaginary, real part, or only the real part, whatever you want. The filter is a direct form second transposed implementation of the standard difference equation. Now y equal to filter b, a, x filters the data in vector x with the filter described by the numerator coefficient of vector b and a denominator coefficient of vector a. Okay, that is, filter the data in vector x with the filter described by numerator coefficient of b and the denominator coefficient of a. Now if a of 1 is not equal to 1, the filter normalizes the filter coefficient by a of 1, and if a of 1 is equals to 0, the filter returns an error. If x is a matrix, filter operates on the columns of x. Okay. Now if x is a multi-dimensional array, then it operates on the first non-singleton dimension. You can coming to the example of a filter. First example, you can use a filter to find the running average without using a for loop. Okay, a for loop that we use. This example finds the running average of a 16 element vector using a window size of 5. This is the command for that. Data is equal to 1, step size is 0.2 and ends to 4. That is 1, 1.2, 1.4 till 4. Window size is 5 and the command is filter once of 1, window size, that is 1, 5 divided by 5, 1, data, that is 16 element vector. The second example can be, you can also define a, b and x directly using the elements. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 and x is equal to 1, 2, 3. X is a matrix here. 1, 2, 3, 2, 34, 5 and 6, 7, 8. 3 row and 3 column matrix. Okay, thank you. So today in this session we have learned about the Fourier transform, Laplace, Z transform, inverse Z transform, filter and convolution. Okay, have a nice day and thank you. I was Nehal Jain from QC Finance.